Good day! Before I start creating my content this morning, I just want to inform everybody that this channel is meant for educational purposes only because it is not easy to teach the Filipino students in this time of pandemic. Thus, as a teacher, I think this is one way to fill the gap of delivering quality education to every Filipino students. Now, if you are ready to learn and you want your classroom to be flipped, just click to this channel and subscribe. Good day, students! This is our second video lesson for our asynchronous schedule in our subject General Mathematics, and this day we will be talking about evaluating functions. And to evaluate a function, we just substitute the function's independent variable with the indicated number or expression. When we say independent variable again, we are referring to the values of x or the input. And again, when we say values of x, we refer this as the domain, while for the y variable, it is also called as dependent variable or the output, and we call their values as the range. Okay. Now, how are we going to do evaluating a function? To do evaluating functions, we just have to indicate that there are independent variables in the given situation or in the given function, and what we are just going to do is to substitute the number or expression in the given function. It says here, substitute the indicated number or expression on every x of the given function. For example here, f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 2x, and we are going to evaluate this function if x is equal to 2. Again, to evaluate this, you just substitute the value or the expression here to every x in the given function. So as given here, we have 3 values of x to be substituted. First, in the f of x, you change that into 2. Second, here, 3x squared, you change x as 2 again. And for the last one, 2x, you change x into 2. And after changing or substituting everything in there, you will do is to operate the given function. What do I mean? You combine like terms, or you just do the operation like the PEMDAS, the MDAS, and the GEMDAS, or any operation involved about the integers there. Then let us evaluate now. What is 3 times 4? We will get 12. And plus 4. What is 12 plus 4? Finally, we will get 16. Thus, therefore, the y value given the function f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 2x at x is equal to 2 is equal to or is 16. That is how we do evaluating functions. You just substitute the given expression or the value here, and you will just substitute in the given x's of the function. Okay? Next here, let's take the first example. Evaluate the function f of x is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 2 if x is equal to negative 1. Again, to evaluate that, you just substitute the value negative 1 in every x's that we have here. As we can see, we have 1, 2, 3 x's to be substituted with negative 1. Right, so let us substitute. That is negative 1. Negative 1 is squared. Do not forget to enclose when you are substituting. Okay, negative 2 times negative 1 plus 2. That is by substituting the x value. Next here, we just operate them. So what is negative 1 squared? Negative 1 squared is positive 1 because when you square any negative value, or when you raise into 2 any negative value, the resulting product is always positive. That would be negative 1 times negative 1 is equal to positive 1. Next here, we have negative 2 multiplied by negative 1. Of course, the rule says if we multiply both negative numbers, the answer will be positive. But when we multiply opposite numbers, opposite signs, the answer is negative. Okay, so that is negative 2 times negative 1 is equal to positive 2. Then, just copy this positive 2 to this one. Okay, so we will just add them. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 5. And that would be the answer for this problem. Let us see. Okay, we got it. F of negative 1 now is equal to 5. Second, evaluate the function f of x is equal to negative x squared minus 3x plus 5 if x is equal to negative 2. Again, substitution is the first step here. Okay, let us substitute now the x value to the given function. We have 3x's here, so we'll just substitute that into negative 2. Negative 2, then negative, this one, then parentheses, negative 2, close, squared, minus 3, then you change x into negative 2, again, do not forget to enclose it with parentheses, plus 5. Okay, next here, we will get negative 2 squared is positive 4. Next here, negative 3 multiplied by negative 2 equals positive 6. And let us just bring down positive 5. Okay. Next, negative times positive 4. What will be the answer? That would be negative 4 plus 11. Where did we get 11 or positive 11? Adding positive 6 and positive 5 together, and we will get the sum positive 11. Now, we will just add both of the numbers here. Negative 4 plus 11 would be positive 7. Okay, now the function when x is equal to negative 2 is positive 7. Let us proceed with the third example. This third example is tricky, but if you know how to substitute, then do the proper operation in there, you won't be confused. You will get the correct answer. Let us read. For number 3, f of x is equal to negative 2 the square root of x plus 4 the square root of x minus 3 the square root of x if x is equal to positive 16. As we can see, we have 4 x's here, including the x in the function. Now, first step again is to the right and substitute the given x value in the function. That would be f of 16 equals negative 2. Next, the square root of x, that would be the square root of 16. As easy as that. Just substitution. For the square root of x, that would be 4 the square root of 16 and negative 3 the square root of 16. We all know, guys, that the square root of 16 is positive 4. You can do manually or you can use the calculator to find the square root of a certain number, especially when the number gets more complex. So we need calculator to get the square root or any operation that we want there. Next, as I said a while back, square root of 16 is positive 4. And that would be negative 2 times 4, positive 4 times 4, and negative 3 times 4. let's just multiply them. That would be negative 2 times positive 4 is negative 8. Positive 4 times 4 is positive 16, and negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Okay, so you just combine everything in there. Alright, let's start. What if we will combine both negative numbers here? We have negative 8 and negative 12. If you combine them, if we have both negative numbers and combining them, you just add the number or the numbers and copy the sign. So we have 8 add to 12, we will get 20. And I said follow the sign. Their signs is negative. So we have negative 20. And add 16, we will get, of course, the difference is negative 4. We got it. Or, if you want to have the shortcut for number 3, you just combine each term we have here. These 3 terms are like terms. Why? As you can see, their variable or variables is the same because that is square root of x only. Square root of x is common to all terms. And hence, we can just combine them or perform the operations involved in there. Example, here, negative 2 plus 4, that would be positive 2. And that positive 2, subtract 2, negative 3, and we will get negative 1. And of course, that negative 1, we could simply put that as negative invisible yung 1 or negative the square root of x. As simple as that. This is now the shortcut. Then, this is the time for you to substitute x is equal to 16. And we'll get negative 4. Okay? So, let's go to number 4. Evaluate the function f of x is equal to negative 2x squared minus 3x minus 3x squared plus 5 if x is equal to negative 1. Again, take a look with the given function if we have like terms. Because if we have like terms, you can just put them together or combine them together and our function will get simple. Did you get that? Okay, so we just rewrite them into a simple or more simple or simpler function or we could just write them and combine the values which are like terms and we will get negative 2x squared minus 3x squared. Those are like terms, we will get negative 5x squared. And the remaining terms which are unlike, you can just drag them down. That is negative 3x and positive 5. And in this time, we will substitute the value of x, which is negative 1, into this given function. That would be f of negative 1 equals negative 5 times negative 1 squared. Alright, you might get confused with this part when you treat them operationally. Take note, parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction are otherwise known as the PEMDAS. Take a look inside the parentheses if we have terms to be simplified there. We have here negative 1. Negative 1 is simple na. So we could not do anything or we will not do anything about this na. Then after that, after letter P, parentheses, we have letter E, which is exponent. That is negative 1 raised into 2. After that, you multiply the product into negative 5. Do not forget that. Exponent first before multiplying the numerical coefficient before the numbers. And here we have negative 3 times negative 1 plus 5. Oh, what are we going to get here? Negative 1 squared is positive 1. And that positive 1, you multiply it into negative 5, we will get negative 5. Okay? So that would be negative 5 plus 8. Where did we get 8? Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Positive 3 plus 5 is positive 8. And combine negative 5 and positive 8, we will get positive 3. Okay? Next, number 5. Okay, so we have here, evaluate the function f of x equals x raised to the 4th power minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared plus 5x minus 3 is equal to, let's go to number 5. Evaluate the function f of x equals x raised to the 4th power minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared plus 5x minus 3 if x is equal to negative x. Siguro, nasanay kayo na kapag nagsasubstitute tayo ay puro numbers. But, in real life, pwedeng hindi numbers ang isa-substitute. Pwedeng variables, just like in this example. If x is equal to negative x. So, ang gagawin nyo lang, parang ganoon lang din sa numbers. Palitan nyo lahat ng x ng negative x. Okay? We will have now negative x raised to the 4th minus negative x cubed plus 4 negative x squared minus 5 times negative x minus 3. Do not forget, always follow PEMDAS. Okay? Parentheses, exponent. As we can see in the parentheses, we do not have complex values to be simplified there. Therefore, we proceed with exponent. So, we have here negative x raised to the 4th power. That means you multiply negative x by itself 4 times. I repeat, if it's negative x raised to the 4th power, you just multiply negative x 4 times by itself. Okay, next, we have here negative 3 multiplied by negative x cubed. Okay, you might get confused here. Maybe, ang gagawin nyo, negative 3 times negative x first. That is wrong. You should do negative x raised to the 3rd power first before multiplying it to negative 3. Do not forget that, ha? Negative x raised to the 3rd power first before multiplying it to negative 3. Okay, let's split this. What is negative x cubed? Ang ibig sabihin niyan, i-multiply mo ang negative x 3 times by itself. Okay? Okay, parang trivia lang. Hindi ibig sabihin na kapag you are raising a certain number into a certain power, ibig sabihin positive lahat ang sagot. Depende mga anak. Kung ang exponent ay even number, just like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, ang sagot ay palaging positive. Take note of that. But if the exponent is an odd number, let's say 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. Basta hindi divisible by 2, ang kanyang sign sa loob ay as is. For example, if it's negative 1 raised to the 3rd power, that is equal to negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1, you will not get a positive number there, but you will get negative 1. Okay, take note of that. For this example, negative x cubed, we will get negative x cubed. Okay, so we will get here negative x cubed. And that negative x cubed multiplied to negative 3, we will get, of course, negative times negative, we will get here positive 3x cubed. For this part naman, ito yung sinasabi ko, tignan mo yung power dito, even number. Ang nasa loob ay negative x. So magiging positive x squared na siya. And multiply by 4, 4x squared. And for this part, positive 5x and less 3. So we will have now positive x fourth plus 3x cubed plus 4x squared plus 5x minus 3. So it's quite lengthy yung ating function, but do not be mind-boggled because whatever functions do we have here, if you know the first step, rewrite and substitute, hindi ka mamamali. At kung alam mo ang gagawin mo sa mga operation, let's say for example, yung sinasabi ko sa inyong PEMDAS or the parentheses, the exponent, the multiplication, the division, the addition, and the subtraction. Pag wala kang isisimplify sa loob ng parentheses, mag-proceed ka na sa exponent. Okay, when it comes to exponent, nagbabago ang sagot depende kung ano yung number. Kung even number yung power or yung exponent, magiging positive palagi yung sagot. Pero kapag negative naman, pero kapag odd number naman yung exponent, depende kung ano ang nasa loob, yung symbol doon, siya pa rin ang sagot. Okay? Number 6 here, medyo humihirap na siya ng kaunti kasi the values that we are substituting are getting more complex. Let's say number 6 here. Evaluate the function f of x equals 2x squared minus x plus 3 if, yan na, x equals a plus 1. Maybe ang tanong nyo, sir, yung a lang po bang isa-substitute namin, sir? Sir, yung 1 lang po bang isa-substitute namin, sir? Mali po kayo ng akala. Ang isa-substitute nyo ay yung buong a plus 1 dito sa loob ng function. Okay? Let us rewrite. We have now x magiging a plus 1. Itong x dito magiging a plus 1. And this x here magiging a plus 1. Then, we have now 2, the quantity of a plus 1 squared minus a plus 1 plus 3. So what are we going to do with the first term is use the FOIL method. You know the FOIL method? This is multiplying the first terms, the outer terms, the inner terms, and the last terms. Or if you know the shortcut of it, my other students of mine know the shortcut of this one when we have square or cube. Okay, do you want to know the shortcut here? The shortcut here is square the first term plus twice the product of the first and the second term plus square the last term. That's the only shortcut. So we have here, says here, square the first term, a squared, square the first term, we have a squared. Next, twice the product of the first and the second term. This is the first term, this is the second term. Ito twice mo daw yung product nila. Ano ang product ba ng 1 times a? It's 1a or a. At ito twice mo yung a na yon, 2 times a, we have 2a. And lastly, square the last term. 1 squared is 1. If you want to do manually, use the FOIL method. And next here we have a plus 1 and close by a parenthesis, and we have negative symbol before them. Ang gagawin nyo, you use the distributive property, okay? You just distribute negative to this first term and negative to this second term. We will have negative times a is negative a, and negative times positive 1 is negative 1. Then bring down positive 3. Okay, next. What are we going to do here? Again, you distribute positive 2 by distributive property of multiplication, and we will get 2 times a squared is 2a squared 2 times positive 2a is positive 4a, and 2 times positive 1 is positive 2. Then, bring down these terms to this. Next, final requirement, we combine like terms. As you can see guys, 2a squared does not have its like terms or like term inside the given terms. So we could just write 2a squared as is, but for 4a and negative a, they are like terms. So what we are going to do is to combine, right? 4a minus a, we will get positive 3a. And here we have positive 2 minus 1 plus 3, and we will get 2 minus 1, positive 1, positive 1 plus 3 is positive 4. Final answer, 2a squared plus 3a plus 4. Okay, for this time, I'm going to do a tutorial for the next given examples because it is all about piecewise function. I will explain about this because if we're going to continue for this slide and continue to read the other slides, you will get confused because it will lead you to misinformation or disinformation. The answers or the process is incorrect. So what I'm going to do here is to do this manually, even the next examples that we will be having here. Okay, so let's start again for number 7 and number 8. For number 7, problem number 7 is about piecewise function or evaluating a piecewise function. As you can see, we have two subfunctions here. We have negative 2x squared and x squared plus 2x, wherein they have their own conditions. For negative 2x squared, you can use now negative 2x squared if the value of x given is greater than 0. Yun po yun. Okay, let us continue. So we are talking now, let us continue for number 7 and number 8. In number 7, this is now an example of a piecewise function, and we are going to evaluate a piecewise function wherein we define piecewise function that this is a type of function with subfunctions and conditions. So what are we going to do with this? We have here two subfunctions like negative 2x squared, this one, with the condition if x is greater than 0. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Gagamitin mo lang ang negative 2x squared kapag na-meet mo ang condition na x is greater than 0. Titignan mo dito sa dalawa kung asan dyan ang greater than 0. Dun mo isa-substitute yung value. Pangalawa, x squared plus 2x if x is less than or equal to 0. Tignan mo sa dalawang ito kung asan yung less than or equal to 0. So, tingnan natin. Itong letter A, x is equal to negative 2. Siya ba ay less than 0 or greater than 0? Hindi siya greater than 0. Pero, less than 0 siya. So, therefore, pwede nating ipasok dito sa function na iyan. Itong pangalawa naman, x is equal to 2. Saan kaya siya papasok? Dito po siya. Kasi x is greater than 0. Because 2 is greater than 0. So ito, papasok naman siya dito sa pangalawa. Right, now, let us solve. So, let us try for letter A, x is equal to negative 2. Ang gagamitin natin na function ay yung subfunction na f of x equals x squared plus 2x dahil babalikan natin if x is less than or equal to 0. Now, let us substitute. F parenthesis equals parenthesis squared plus 2 parenthesis sa mga parentheses na yan, doon mo isa-substitute yung value na negative 2. Okay? Ngayon, isa-solve na natin siya. F of negative 2 equals, what is negative 2 squared? It's positive 4. 2 times negative 2 is 2 times negative 2 is plus negative 4, or simplify, f of negative 2 equals 4 less 4, and we got the answer 0. So that's it for letter A. Alright? For letter B, I will erase this. For letter B, x is equal to 2, and the function that we are going to use here is the first subfunction, which is negative 2x squared. Then what are we going to do here is, of course, to substitute f parentheses equals negative 2 parentheses squared. In the parentheses, you will just put positive 2. Then solve for it. F of 2 equals negative 2. This is what I'm saying to you. Exponent first before multiplication. 2 squared is positive 4. Simplify. Negative 8. So we got 0 and negative 8 for piecewise function number 7. Alright, so let us continue. In number 7, we have 2 subfunctions, but for number 8, we have 3 subfunctions. Do not be confused, because if you know how to follow the rules we have here, you take a look at the values here, makukuha mo pa rin ang tamang sagot. Let us read. F of z equals 2z less 5 if z is greater than 5. Next, negative z plus 8 if, okay, let us see how to read this. This is read as z is greater than or equal to negative 5 but less than or equal to 5. That is how we read that. Pabaliktad. Para dito, pabaliktad. Pero dito, yung totoo. Okay? Z is greater than or equal to negative 5 but less than or equal to 5. And for the third function, subfunction, z squared plus 2z less 3 if z is less than negative 5. Let's take a look with letter A. It is negative 6. Saan natin kaya isa-substitute ang negative 6? Saan condition kaya ang na-meet niya dito? Tatlo. Sa una ba, negative 6 is greater than 5 ba? Mali. How about dito? Nasa pagitan ba ng negative 5 at positive 5 ang negative 6? Mali. How about dito sa pangatlo? Less than negative 5 ba ang negative 6? Yes, tama. So we are going to use this one. Z is less than negative 5 using this function z squared plus 2z minus 3. So let us write f of z, that must be f of z. F of z equals z squared plus 2z plus 3 if z equals negative 6. Okay, let us solve now. First step is to substitute. Shortcut na tayo. Negative 6 squared plus 2 times negative 6 less 3. Then we have f of negative 6 equals negative 6 squared is positive 36 less 18, because 2 times negative 6 is positive 18. Okay, let's go. Let's shortcut this. Negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. 6 times 2 is positive 12, pero meron tayong negative value here. Negative 6 times 2 is negative 12, and copy negative 3. Combine like terms. F of negative 6 equals 36 plus 12 is 24, right? Plus 3 is positive 21. So let us check. 15. So we got it. So f of 6 is equal to 21 using this function. Okay, let's go to letter B. I-screenshot nyo na lang po yung solution dito, no? Let's go to letter B kasi wala akong gagamitin na whiteboard. For letter B naman, saan kaya ang gagamitin natin? Equals 6. Ito ba or ito ba? Yung una kasi 6 is greater than 5. So we will use this function. That function. Okay? Let us write now. F of z equals 2z less 5, z equals 6. Let's solve this. F of 6 equals 2, the quantity of 6 less 5, 12 less 5, we got 7. That's it. Okay, for the next one, singit na lang siya natin dito. For the next one, we have letter C is 5. Tingnan natin. Pasok ba siya dito sa gitna? Tama, pasok siya kasi dito z is equal to 5 din dito. So ito equal to 5. Plus ang letter D naman natin, z is equal to negative 5. Pasok din siya dito. So we will use negative z plus 8 2 times. Okay? Let's go for letter C. F of z negative z plus 8 if z is equal to 5. Substitute f, the quantity of 5 is equal to negative, substitute 5 plus 8, then negative 5 plus 8 is negative or positive 3. So f of 5 now is positive 3. And for the last one, letter D, we have f of z equals negative z plus 8, z equals negative 5. That one. Okay? Substitute po, f of negative 5 equals negative, the quantity of negative 5, kasi papalitan mo itong z ng negative 5 plus 8. That is, f of negative 5 equals negative times negative 5, positive 5, plus 8, last answer, 30. So, we got it for number 8. So, this is the end of our lesson, asynchronous lesson for evaluating function, evaluating a simple function, and of course, evaluating function like the piecewise function. Kailangan nyo lang sundin ang rule, rewrite, and substitute, then perform the operations, involve them following the parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. I am your teacher, Christian Boy Di Cacho. Till next time, bye-bye!